When traders and headlines talk about Bitcoin going to zero, they generally mean price volatility. But in reality, there's only a handful of scenarios that could truly lead to a complete loss of trust in the Bitcoin network, and this is one of them. The entire value of Bitcoin rests on one central idea: accuracy, the ability of the network to act as a reliable, tamper-proof ledger. How does that look in practice? It means that when you send 10 Bitcoin to your friend John, the network will keep track of that transaction. It will deduct 10 Bitcoin from you and credit 10 Bitcoin to John's Bitcoin address, and vice versa if John were to send money to you. If you didn't have confidence in the network to keep track of that transaction, the underlying currency, i.e. Bitcoin, would be worth nothing. So accuracy and reliability are crucial to the value of your Bitcoin. And that reliability depends on decentralization. Decentralization in the context of Bitcoin means the distribution of computational power in a way that ensures that no single entity can ever manipulate transactions on the blockchain. Yet, you might be surprised to learn that most of the lifeblood of the Bitcoin network, its hash power, is actually generated by just a few huge players. Let's start with a look at how Bitcoin actually runs. Bitcoin uses something called proof of work. Computers around the world compete to solve cryptographic puzzles that secure the network and create new blocks. The ability to compete comes down to one thing: hash power. Hash power is the amount of computational force a miner contributes. The more hash power you have, the more guesses you can make at solving these puzzles, and the more likely you are to mine the next block. But hash power isn't evenly distributed. Mining is expensive. It requires specialized machines, huge energy, and massive infrastructure. That's why individual miners rarely succeed alone. But sometimes they do, and you should definitely check out our article on solo Bitcoin miners. Instead, they join mining pools where they combine their hash power to earn rewards more consistently. But the consequence of this is that just a handful of pools command most of the network's hash power. This means they gain significant influence over how Bitcoin operates. So what's at stake here? Here's where things get serious. If a single entity or coordinated group controlled more than 50% of the network's hash power, they could, in theory, reverse transactions, creating double spending risks, block certain transactions or addresses, or potentially manipulate which blocks are added to the blockchain. In short, the very thing that gives Bitcoin value is its ability to be a decentralized, infallible, uncensored ledger. And all of that would disappear if just one entity controlled the majority share of the hash power. There are rumours that a single entity could already control nearly half of the network's hash power, showing how close the network could come to this theoretical risk. While nothing catastrophic has happened yet, it's a real reminder that decentralization in Bitcoin is not absolute. It depends on how computational power is distributed, and that's why this is worth knowing about. This doesn't mean that Bitcoin is broken, but it does raise serious questions about resilience, censorship resistance, and what decentralization really means when all of the hash power is concentrated in just a few hands. For a deep dive into which pools control the most Bitcoin hash power, who's behind them, and what it means for the future of the network, check out our deep dive on Webipedia.